Hi, grade 10 science students. So yesterday we talked about how our cells and everything can be specialized. So this was yesterday's lesson, right? We talked about all of these different types of specialized cells that we can have. And today we're going to talk about how everything is organized in animals. And I kind of talked about this in our overview of biology. Biology is so truly fascinating because every single animal that has a spine, every single vertebrae is laid out in the exact same organization, but we function completely different. So I think that it's so unique to see this, or I guess rather not unique. So we go from super simple to very complex. And the simplest part of biology or organization is the cell. And a cell is the single unit of life, right? So if I was thinking like math and I needed to have units, that's going to be our cell here. Our cells, when they all get together and they start to organize and they clump together, form tissues. And there's four main types of tissues. The first one is epithelial tissues, which are basically those thin sheets of skin cells or epithelial cells that are tightly packed together and they act as protection and cover. The next one is connective cells or connective tissues. And these are cells and fibers that are going to join together and act as support and insulation. The third type of tissue is muscles. And muscle cells are super specialized because they're going to be fibers that come together. So the cells that are specialized come together to create all of these fibers, these tightly packed little bundles that can contract and cause movement. And nerve tissue, also a cluster of super specialized cells that can actually conduct electrical impulses without getting fried so that we can cause communication throughout our bodies. So a cell is one unit, and then all of the cells together are going to make four types of tissues. And we just said that those four types were epithelial, connective, muscle, or nerve. Once we have now a group of tissues, we make what's called an organ. And an organ is like a superstructure, super specialized structure inside of our bodies that are made of different tissues working together. So organs are like our heart, our liver, our kidneys, our brain, our skin. All of those things are organs. Once we have a bunch of organs together, now we're going to have an organ system. And organ systems working together perform vital bodily functions. So, for instance, every time we eat, that's a whole bunch of different organs that are working together so that we can digest our food. Every time that we do a movement, that's a whole bunch of different organs working together so that our nervous system can function, right? Once we now have a whole bunch of organ systems, you can have what's called an organism. And notice that all of these words look very similar because they all stem from the same idea. And an organism is any life form in the whole world that's composed of interdependent organ systems. So they all rely on each other. And this is why, if you watch any medical shows like Grey's Anatomy, Chicago Med, any of those shows, this is why you will often hear in these shows that as soon as one system of organs starts to fail, the others rapidly follow because they all depend on each other. So you can only live for so long and with one organ system not functioning properly. And some are not as long as others. Okay, so again, we start at simple, we go super complex. Simple, one single cell, really complex, a whole bunch of organ systems working together. Okay. So here's a little graphic representation. So we have cells. These cells are going to make tissues. These tissues make organs. These organs make an organ system. All of the organ systems working together make the organism. Okay. The same thing happens in plants. So in plants, you're always going to start with cells, then tissues. They still have organs, they're just not like what we think of. Organ systems, the whole organism. Okay. So, like I said, they're all going to be organized in exactly the same way. Today's lesson is super, super duper short. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Please watch some of the videos that we've talked about. And I want you to start thinking about maybe an organ system that you would like to learn more about. So we're going to start talking about that and maybe doing some reflection on that. Okay? I hope you guys are staying awesome.